Redfall is an upcoming open-world first-person shooter that is being developed by Arkane Studios and published by Bethesda. The project was announced in 2021 and hasn't been promoted as much as I would have expected. While the marketing has been minimal, fans have already started to get excited for this title. Let's break down the reveal, game details, and the leaks. As always, all the sources will be linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out and support those original writers. And with that out of the way, let's get into everything we know about Redfall. Moving on to the reveal, an official cinematic trailer was released at E3 2021 during the Bethesda showcase. The trailer is what you would expect from a reveal trailer. It shows off 4 of the characters and introduces their special abilities, along with the enemy vampires and bosses. A variety of weapons are introduced, along with how the characters and their abilities play off of each other. The trailer ends by showing a vampire that is able to survive while the sun is rising, and the trailer teases a summer 2022 release window. The game will launch exclusively on the Xbox Series X/X consoles and PC, plus will also launch day one on Xbox Game Pass. Another description says the game will seamlessly blend single and multiplayer options together, which will allow the players to explore the world alone or with 3 other friends. Next, let's cover the Bethesda website, which was updated to include a Redfall page and includes more information about the game. The first post describes the town, which says, quote, "The quaint island town of Redfall, Massachusetts is under siege by a legion of vampires who have blocked out the sun and cut the island off from the outside world. Trapped with a handful of survivors against malevolent enemies threatening to bleed the town dry, choose your hero from a diverse roster, grouping up with others to create the perfect team of vampire slayers." This description explains why the vampires are able to survive all the time, and it's because they blocked out the sun, which is, I assume, what we were witnessing at the end of the reveal trailer. Official character descriptions were provided for the playable characters in the trailer. The first character we will discuss is Devinder Krausley. His description says, quote, "Devinder Krausley is a cryptozoologist and aspiring inventor. His recent book tour landed him in Redfall just before it went dark. After years of struggling to create cutting-edge tech to hunt supernatural phenomenon, everything is finally starting to click. In Redfall, monsters are real and his inventions work. As he puts them to use fighting vampires, he documents every step of the way. If he gets out of this alive, he'll have all of the validation he needs." The next character is Layla Ellison. Her description says, quote, "Layla Ellison moved to Redfall from Wisconsin. She studied biomedical engineering at Redfall Technical University and volunteered for a medical trial at the ominous Avium Therapeutics Research Facility, where apparently something went wrong, leaving her with intense telekinetic abilities." After that is Remy De La Rosa. Her description says, quote, "Remy De La Rosa is a combat engineer, and a brilliant one at that. She lived her life on the front lines of conflict, using her brilliant mind to protect her loved ones and help those in need around the world as part of an elite Navy rescue unit. With the help of her robot cohort, she's determined to help rescue Redfall survivors and eliminate any enemies that stand in her way." And the final character announced during the reveal was Jacob Boyer. His description says, quote, "Jacob is an ex-military sharpshooter sent into Redfall just before the sun darkened as part of an elite private security force. Dark circumstances separated him from his platoon, forcing him down a rogue path. Now he stalks the streets of Redfall, neutralizing evil from the shadows with supernatural precision. Look for a mysterious, ragged raven circling overhead. You may not see him, but Jacob will be nearby." And the final lore that was released on the website gives more details about the vampires, which says, quote, "Redfall's vampires aren't your typical bloodsuckers. They were created after a scientific experiment went horribly wrong and are continuing to evolve. After their transformation, some vampires develop powerful abilities and grow into bigger and badder vampires. They're not the only thing standing in your way. Players will also face off against human cultists who worship the island's hungry new leadership. with the hopes of joining their ranks. And this is a new take on vampires. They won't be the traditional ancient beings, and I bet it will all be explored further in the game's story. Yes, the game will have a full campaign. The world will also change based on our characters' actions and choices. The team hasn't elaborated further, but technically everyone's world could be different depending on how they decide to play. The team has also teased collecting and customizing gear, upgrading abilities, and different playstyles. Moving on, we have to talk about the massive leak in September of 2021. A lot of the original information has been deleted or removed, so I'll link the original post along with a recap that was created by the Reddit user KitaXV. The leak starts by saying the game seems to be Arkane's take on the looter-shooter video game genre. There will be various missions around the world along with fast travel and safe houses. They also say 6 characters were in the playtest, but as of now, only 4 characters have been formally announced. Each playable character will have 3 different abilities, one of which is the player's ultimate ability. Most of the characters' abilities aren't known, and only a description of the icons are given. I'm not going to spend time breaking them down here, but you can always pause the video and read them for yourselves. Then we get into the gear in-game, which includes guns, armor, medkits, remnants, and mementos. We will also be able to carry keys, lockpicks, wire cutters, and bandages, and we will be able to carry 3 weapons at a time, and the weapons come in tiers and will have level requirements. In this test, it looks like there are 5 weapon tiers, and as the tiers increase, so does the ability of the weapon. In terms of the game's currencies, so far 2 were noticed in-game. One is called Scrap and is earned by dismantling weapons. And there will also be an item store, which we don't have any other details about. And the final word is that friendly NPCs are shown, so expect some friendly characters throughout the world, not just enemies. All of this information was from the leaker, and 14 images they released from a test build of the game. Obviously, all of this information is from an early build and includes placeholders and will change before the game will release. It was also never meant to be public, and I wouldn't worry too much about the game based off the visuals or these screenshots. They are out of context and won't be representative of the game at launch. I'm going to let the images cycle through if you are interested. If not, you can skip ahead to the final video chapter to cover the potential delay rumors. So the final story was in January of 2022 when in an episode of the Defining Duke podcast, the host discussed how they heard that some Xbox exclusives could have their releases shifted. They do say the source is not their usual source for this type of information, but the insider did say they heard that Redfall was a title that could be getting a new launch window. Speculation puts the title shifting from summer of 2022 to a holiday 2022 release instead. This would not be the biggest deal. Marketing still hasn't really picked up for the game, so I wouldn't be too surprised if this rumor ends up being true. And that for the most part is everything we know about Redfall. Most of the information unfortunately came from a leaked playtest, but I'm still excited for this title. Even though the leaked images disappointed some fans, I think this title is still something worth paying attention to. Either way, that's where I'm going to end this video. Make sure to like and share, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.